thank you very much for having me here today. I'm humbled to be here. This is a really cool room, and it's cool that you guys are here today on a Saturday, and thanks for having me. So we'll start with a video.
Whoa, that's not good.
Oh, I don't need this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody! Hello? There are 2 people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something? I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
No, well, there's nothing else left to do, is there?
What do you guys want first? The good news or the bad news? Bad news? Nobody's coming. Okay? If you're sitting around your fire station or your home waiting for that transcendental leader to show up and ride in on that trusty white steed in a suit of armor waving Excalibur, you're going to be waiting a really long time. Can we all agree on that? Okay. Leadership shows itself in really subtle ways. And I believe in our lives and in our firehouses, we see shining examples of it every single day. Bad news is nobody's coming. The good news is you can do something about it. Don't wait to lead. Don't wait to be a mentor. And I think that, like I said, we see those examples in our young people, in our old people, every single day. Good news is you can do something about it. Bad news is nobody's coming, okay? So one of the things that's really important that I try to convey in the longer classes that I do for this is that participation is very important, and you can't hold somebody to a standard that you've never established, okay? And one of the things that's a key component in this presentation is communication and setting forth expectations. Okay. And we've all been to those classes where it's death by PowerPoint, where the person sits there and reads the slide word for word with little intellectual input, okay? And those things suck, okay? And all of this whole thing is about starting a dialogue with your people and knowing implicitly who they are. Because as a leader, is it important that we know exactly what our people are capable of? Yes. And if we know exactly what our people are capable of, it reduces our anxiety level, and we're able to step back and allow those people to lead. But it starts with a conversation. So who is this guy and where does he come from? This is my fire service background. I started in the fire service in 1998. Fire service professional from the planet of Earth on the left coast of North America. If you guys understand where I'm going with this, I'm not allowed to say what department I work for. So I've been involved in a lot of different things. I've been privileged to be a part of some really cool projects in my career. I've been a part of some academies in Northern California. I've been an academy instructor in Santa Clara County and San Mateo County. Had the opportunity to teach at a community college. Started writing for Fire Engineering Magazine a number of years ago, and I was also on our state rapid intervention and survival curriculum committees, of which very talented group of people. We produced some manuals that are about this thick each on each discipline, and I was able to help out with some of those things because I have some writing skills. And the origins of this class came from, or the origins of this talk came from when I was a frustrated individual trying to push and make a difference and trying to push forth this whole idea of excellence being our responsibility and my responsibility. When I was trying to promote to company officer, I was told to go to my room and be quiet and basically shut up if I wanted to get promoted to captain. And I think a lot of us in this room have been told the same thing. Disappear. If you want to get promoted, don't make waves, okay? I'm here to tell you that if you want to make a difference, differences are made by those who push. And I know that the pushers are here in this room. The drivers for change are here in this room. Okay? So, my fire service background, I work for a department that has about 100 uniformed personnel. We have 6 engine companies, a ladder company, 2 medic units, and a battalion chief. We're in a major metropolitan area, so we have mutual aid agreements and auto aid agreements, and so we function as a much larger department because in the Bay Area where I'm from, the Bay Area, if you're familiar with it, San Francisco's in the north end of the Bay, down to San Jose in the south, up to Oakland in the north. It's about 8 million people or so that they know about. Okay. So, major metropolitan area. The engine company that I run on, we run about 3,000 calls a year. So, we're kind of busy. So, I go places and I say that we're kind of busy, and people laugh because, you know, there's companies where I go talk to departments, and they have companies where they run 2 engines out of their downtown station, and each engine runs 25 calls a shift. So they kind of snicker when I say we're sort of busy. But this is my fire service background. Started writing for fire engineering in 2010, going down the survival and rapid intervention route. Wrote some survival articles, and that's sort of where the writing bug started. And as I was trying to explore leadership, as I was trying to get promoted to company officer, that's where this real interest in a way of doing things came from. And by talking to some people in my life, I unearthed some things that I wasn't even really aware of that were a part of me. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. Because more than being a fire service professional, I'm the son of a football coach. And that's where a lot of this comes from. A lot of what we're going to talk about today. So, some of you may have come from military families. You may be familiar with what an Army brat is. An Army brat is someone who their parents are in the military, and as their mother or father gets promoted through the ranks in the military, they move around a lot. So there's the military brat or the Army brat. I was a football brat. We moved around a lot when I was a kid because my dad changed jobs a lot when I was coming up. He started out as a graduate assistant at Linfield in McMinnville, where he went to school, and then worked through the high school ranks and came up as a graduate assistant at UCLA. And some of the people that formed his way of thinking as he was growing up, he was the son of a fire captain in Eugene, my dad was, but some of the people who formed his way of thinking and his discipline, the way that he conducted himself as a football coach, when he was at UCLA, there was a guy who had an office down the hall from my dad named John Wooden. And if you're not familiar with who John Wooden is one of the greatest basketball coaches in college history. Number of books written on leadership and life skills. I recommend any book by John Wooden on leadership. And he won 11 national championships total, I believe, at UCLA, and 10 in a row. A feat that will never be accomplished again. I'm convinced of it. So when my dad was a young guy trying to figure out his way as a coach, he would walk down the hall and knock on the office door of Coach Wooden and say, "Hey, Coach, you got a minute? Can I talk to you? Can I pick your brain about some things about coaching, about leadership?" And Coach Wooden always made time for him. And if you look at where we are as a society and what's going on in terms of people walking out of the workforce in huge numbers, the baby boomers are walking out of the workforce in tremendous numbers right now. And right behind the baby boomers who are all walking out, in my organization, when I got promoted to company officer, a third of the department walked out the door. And hopefully that wasn't because I got promoted to company officer. But it was just how the timing worked out. We promoted a big group of people because we knew that a lot of people were walking out the door, a lot of experience was walking out the door. And if you think about a third of your agency walking out the door, the baby boomers were walking out the door because they were of retirement age. Right behind them was Generation X, of which I'm a part. Generation X is 25% smaller than the baby boomers. So what that means is there's 25% fewer of us to step up into those positions that are vacated by the baby boomers. And if you think about who's coming behind us, Generation Y and the millennials, they're about the same size as the baby boomers. So if you catch yourself saying in your organization, who does this person think they are? They've only been here 3 or 4 years. They're a 2 years going on 10 type of person. Okay? That's where we are as a workforce. Everybody has to be a mentor because those people, those young people that are coming into our organizations don't have the life skills or the skill set necessarily to step into those leadership roles if we don't prepare them. Can we all agree on that? Do we see that that's going on in our organizations? I think if we do a lot of self-examination, we'll see that. Okay? So I'm the son of a football coach. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. So I was born in Virginia, moved to Oregon, moved to California, moved to Wisconsin, moved to Arkansas, moved to California, all by the time I was in the 5th grade, as my dad changed jobs. And my dad changed jobs a lot because as he was working his way up through the coaching ranks, a lot of times you have to take jobs that aren't particularly glamorous or good. When my dad coached at the University of Oregon, some of my earliest memories were of crawling around on the AstroTurf at Autzen Stadium and crawling up in the bleachers and eating gum off the bottom side of the bleachers. Okay? But the Ducks weren't very good back then. In the early 70s, they weren't very good, so my dad got fired a number of times and got hired back when they hired a new coach. And the reason why they fire people in professional sports or in collegiate sports is because they're not performing. So I had this really warped view of how things should be as I was growing up, and a market need for attention because we moved around a lot and I had to make new friends. But when the coaching staff doesn't perform, they get fired, and so therefore they fire the family. So as I was working my dad was working his way up and I was growing up, we moved around a lot. And when I was in high school, or actually elementary school, we settled in the Bay Area in San Francisco, and my dad got a job with the San Francisco 49ers. And that was where he actually started his relationship with Bill Walsh in 1977. And if you look at this picture here, that's the coaching staff from Stanford University from 1977. In the center, that's Bill Walsh, front row center. And on the upper right-hand side, as you're looking at it, that's Dennis Green. Next to him is George Seifert, and on the far left, that's my dad, Fred vonAppen. So one of his mentors and one of the guys who also formed his way of thinking was Bill Walsh. So in 1983, he got a job with the San Francisco 49ers. And from 1983 through 1988, he worked for the San Francisco 49ers organization, and I was a ball boy on those teams. And in that time, they won 2 world championships. So without even understanding what I was watching when I was growing up, I was indoctrinated into a system and a way of doing things that I didn't even understand. I saw what great coaching looked like. I saw what great leadership looked like. And going to training camp every single year and spending 6 weeks working 2-a-day practices, I saw what a true meritocracy looks like. So that created this belief system in me when I decided that when I got into adulthood, and I decided that I wanted to pursue a career in the fire service, I had this really warped view of how things should be. Because if you weren't great at your craft, if you weren't the best at your craft in professional football, you got cut. You were gonna have to go find something else to do. And if you weren't performing as a football coach or as a staff, your family got fired. You had to pack up your family and maybe move to the other side of the country. So when I tried to get into the fire service and I started testing to be a firefighter, I tested for 5 years before I finally strung enough right answers together on a test to get hired. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in this room that will feel my pain, okay? 5 years, all up and down the state of California, as far away as Washington and Texas. Okay? I was gonna go wherever the job was. The test that I finally got hired on, there were 3,000 people that took the test, and I don't know how many they hired off the list, but I felt like I had gotten struck by lightning, that it was never gonna happen again. So I was gonna take that job wherever it was. So growing up in that situation where people, had a standard that they were held to, and everybody was the best at their profession on those teams, growing up, that was what I saw. Working on the sidelines, working practices. When I finally got a job and I arrived in the fire service after taking tests for 5 years and going up against 3,000 people for each test, and I finally landed my first job, did I have this unreasonable expectation that everyone was a superstar? Yeah. And my first introduction to mediocrity went a little bit like this. we're in the academy, and you're generally pretty uptight when you're in the academy. You know, you're supposed to be, you know, your shirt's supposed to be tucked in, creases in your sleeves, tie on, gig line straight, creases in your pants so sharp that you can cut your fingers on them. You should be able to see your reflection in your boots. We're all on the same page, right? You guys feel me? Okay? So I'm in the academy, and our instructor walks in one day, and we spring to attention like we're supposed to. And he walks in, and we're standing there at attention. And he walks in, and he throws some papers down on the desk, and he's, first of all, looks like he hasn't shaved in a couple of days. His shirt's untucked. His day boots are unzipped. And he looks like he's been sleeping in his car. And it's a company officer, okay? And he walks in, and he says, "Hey, guys, I hate to break it to you, but the guy who was supposed to teach your ladder class today called in sick, so you got me." I don't know about you, but for my enthusiasm balloon, that lets all the air out of it. I mean, right? And we're all looking around going, this is a joke, right? Where's the camera? Okay? And how much different would it have been if that guy had walked in and tucked in his shirt, maybe ran a sharp rock over his face, combed his hair, zipped his boots up. But if he had walked in and said, "Hey, guys, have a seat. I'm Captain so-and-so. I'm really happy to be here today. Good news is I don't have a curriculum plan for you, but the bad news is the guy who was supposed to teach your ladder class today had a family emergency and couldn't be here. Back to the good news, because we don't have a curriculum planned, I'm not going to read ifs to essentials of ladders to you. We're going to go outside and put your turnouts on. You're going to throw ladders for the next 6 hours. You guys good with that?" Sometimes it's all about how you frame it, okay? You can't miss an opportunity to lead. And I really felt like in that situation, that person missed an opportunity to lead. So when I made it through the academy, get all the way through the academy, and I get my first station assignment. And I was pretty uptight in the academy, but if you thought I was uptight in the academy, you should have seen me for my first day at work. So shift change for us is at 0800, and at 0630, I'm level 1 stage in the direction of travel in my 92 Jeep Wrangler, and I'm fogging up the windows, panicked, because shift changes at 8 o'clock, but the all-station ring down's at 7, and it's 6:30, and I don't want to get there too early, because if I get there too early, I'm going to make somebody mad. I don't want to wake anybody up. So I'm sitting there, and I'm planning my next move as I'm fogging up the windows. So, okay, I'm going to wait till 7 o'clock, because 7 o'clock is when the all-station ring down is, and then I can go to the station, because I won't wake anybody up at that point. So it gets to be pretty close to 7 o'clock, and so I turn the engine over, start the motor, defrost the window, because it was broken, because I was broke at the time, getting through the academy. Clear the window, and I proceed into the scene. As I proceed into the scene, I arrive at the back parking lot of the fire station. I do my scene size up. And I look at the parking lot, and I go, there's a parking spot right next to the fire station, but I don't want to park in that parking spot, because if I do, I might piss somebody off. Because that might be the captain's parking spot. There's a parking spot in the middle, but who am I to take the parking spot in the middle? I'm going to take the one all the way at the end. So as I get to the back gate, I do that size up, and I gas the engine a little bit, and turn off the motor and coast into my parking spot really quiet-like. And then I start fogging up the windows again, because I'm panicked, because I don't know what I'm supposed to bring in first. Am I supposed to bring in my turnouts or the big pink box of donuts first? What do I bring in first? It's a giant dilemma, right? If I bring my turnouts in first, they'll give me crap because I didn't bring treats on my first day. But I got them in the car, but that doesn't matter. But if I bring the donuts first, we're going to catch a fire right now. And I'll have the donuts, but they'll think I wasn't ready. So I'll bring them both at the same time. So I'm horsing my turnouts before the days of gear bags in one arm and the big pink box of donuts in the other. And I'm making my way to the back door of the fire station, and stuff's dropping out. I drop my mask, I drop my helmet, and I get to the back door, and I go, oh, how am I going to open the door? So luckily, the engineer from the off-going shift came to the back door and opens the door and goes, "Hey, kid, welcome. Is this your first day?" "Yeah, recruit vonAppen here to, dropping stuff." Thank you for opening the door for me." "Hey, you brought donuts? How many did you bring?" "I brought 2 dozen for 6 guys." Go big or go home, right? So hey, kid, welcome. Put the donuts down. That's great. Thank you. Put your gear on the rig, and we'll get you started, okay? So this is kind of where it all started. This is my first introduction, again, back in the academy, sort of to mediocrity, okay? Put your gear on the rig, you know where to sit? Yes, I do, thank you. Okay, so I put my gear on the rig and I do a rig checkout. It's now, about 7:15. I'm checking out the rig. About 7:45, I feel like I've done a pretty thorough rig checkout from the firefighter's position. So I walk back into the kitchen. Hey kid, you done checking out the rig? Yeah. Okay, let me show you where the really important stuff is. So the next thing I got an in-service on was Mr. Coffee. So Mr. Coffee likes to be started at 0630, kid. He likes this many scoops, he likes this much water. Okay, he's happiest when he's running all day long. Okay? Do you drink coffee, kid? No, I don't. What's the matter with you? So, got an in-service on Mr. Coffee, and I'm taking notes, copious notes on how to do this because I want to do it right. So, got my little notepad, and he goes, okay, kid, now we're going to show you where the other really important stuff is. So I got taken to the broom closet. Okay. Here's the dust mop, here's the mop, here's the Comet, here's your gloves, here's your toilet brush. Become really familiar with that toilet brush. Okay, make blue water, kid, because you want to make sure that somebody knows you did something. I got mentored. Right? So I'm waiting to meet my first company officer. And what's supposed to happen when you meet your first company officer? I'll do it for you. Okay? When you meet your first company officer, the clouds are supposed to part, and the light shines down, and you're going to meet that person that's going to lead you. Oh, and the angels are supposed to sing. Right? Ah, like that. All the cats and dogs in the neighborhood are howling right now because of that. But it's supposed to go like that, right? Because we're supposed to meet that first person who's going to leave their fingerprint on us to lead us, right? Okay, so I get to cleaning. Hey, get to cleaning, kid. You got time to clean, you got time to clean. Sir, yes, sir. So I'm pushing the dust mop around the station, and I'm going back and forth and back and forth. And I'm at the far end of the station when I hear a car come screeching into the parking lot about 1 minute to 8. Okay? And the car, as I remember it probably didn't go this way, but the car power slides into that first parking spot that I didn't take, and it's a good thing I didn't take it because apparently that's the captain's parking spot. Okay, and out comes who I believe is my first company officer. He walks into the kitchen, and I hear an exchange of information going on between the outgoing captain and my oncoming captain. And so the dust mop that I'm pushing around the station magically carries me back to the kitchen. And I'm going around the table, and I'm circling the table like a shark. And they're reading the paper, trying to drink the coffee that I made for the first time in my life. And finally, I go around the table a couple times, and my captain finally says, geez, kid, quit circling the table. You're making me nervous. So I stiffen. I say, oh, I'm really sorry, sir. Recruit vonAppen here. What do you want me to do if we catch a fire right now? And he almost spit out his coffee. Don't worry about it, kid. We'll figure it out when we get there. And I stand there with my broom. Sir, yes, sir. Anything else? No, keep cleaning. Was that a missed opportunity? And can you hold people to a standard that you've never established? No. Okay, I believe that everybody should have a quick little talk that they give to people when they get detailed out to their station for the first time. Okay? And mine goes something like this. When guys get detailed out to our station on vacation or sick leave relief or they're on a trade, hey, when you come here, this is how we do things. Okay? If the words smoke or fire are in the dispatch, you will wear all of your PPE, have a tool in your hand, be ready to pull this line and meet me at the front door, and don't do anything else until I get there. How long did that take? 15 seconds? Are the expectations laid out? We go into much deeper tactical expectations and behavioral expectations later on, and the exchange that we're going to have together, how we're going to work together on things when I worked with crews for a long time. But if someone's coming to me for an afternoon or a morning or just a couple hours, 12 hours, that's the expectation. On EMS, you'll do this. On fires, you'll do that. So I'm working my way through my probation, and we have a very structured and regimented probation. It's actually good that it's laid out that way. So I'm working my way through probation, and I'm on my 3rd month. And every month back in the old days, we would have a test every month. It was a written exam, a map test, and a manipulative test. So I'm super nervous and pretty grouchy on test days, because I'm not the greatest test taker. And we're at the tower one day, and they kick out a first alarm assignment in our district, and we're 2 districts away. And we've got a lot of equipment off the rig, and I'm trying to tie a hasty seat around my turnouts, and I'm grouchy because I can't even tie my shoes. But I'm trying to figure it out. And the alarm comes in, and my captain goes, "Get on the rig, you're going to the fire." The training captain says, "You're not going to the fire, he's got a test to take." And my captain goes, "Get on the rig, you're not going, get on the rig, you're not going." So I'm bouncing back and forth trying to figure out what I'm going to do, right? And so finally my captain goes, "Get your ass on the rig, we're going to the fire." "Yes, sir." So I jump on the rig, and we're driving in this old Pierce Arrow, open cab. It was beautiful. And we're on our way there, and we're hauling ass to get this thing. We ended up beating the second due engine, which was a lot closer. We got there in a hurry. And I'm masked up and on air, riding in the jump seat on the way to this fire. And we're getting the triggers. PD on scene reporting smoke, showing from the roof. They've identified the hydrant for you. They're parked right in front of it. Multiple calls from people reporting smoke coming from the structure. So we're on our way, and I am juiced. I'm ready to go. And I asked my captain, "Cap, what do you want me to do when we get there?" "Don't worry about it, kid. We'll figure it out." I'm like, okay, cool. So we arrive on scene. We turn the corner, and I look, and I'm craning my neck, and I can see smoke curling out of the eaves. And we got a working fire. 2-story residential, smoke coming from the attic, fires in the attic, right? So we arrive on scene, maxi brake hits, and I jump off the rig. I'm ready to do it. And I look around, and the homeowner's there, and the homeowner comes up and grabs me by my turnout coat. And she goes, "I know where the fire is, I'll show you." And as a 26-year-old rookie with no expectations set forth, how disciplined do you think I'm going to be to stay at the rig when somebody comes and grabs me by the coat and says, "I'm going to take you inside and show you where the fire is"? I look around, I look for my company officer, and I don't see him. He's got the only portable radio we carried on the rig. And he was doing his 360 walk around, doing his due diligence, making sure that we set up the incident for success. But I didn't know that because we'd never discussed expectations. So I look at the house, and I look at the rig, and I go, the transverse line will probably make it. So I pull the line, and not a stick of hose hits the ground, not a coupling hits the ground. And I'm dragging that thing inside as the homeowner's yanking me inside upstairs as smoke's banking down on the second floor. She goes, "There's how you get in the attic." I go, "Okay, cool. Get out of here. It's dangerous." So I push her down the stairs. Do no harm, right? But I'm like, boom. So that's not really how it happened. But she leaves. I go to the window. I call for water. Line charges. I get water. And I pull down the drop-down ladder for the attic. And the fire gets a little bit of air. Oh, it's on. My mask is starting to ice up because I'm breathing so quickly. So is the stem of my bottle. Okay, and I'm about at a half a tank now because I was on air. So water comes, I climb into that burning attic, and I climb into that burning attic by myself. They call that freelancing. And Alan Brunacini says, firefighters can often freelance themselves into a considerable amount of trouble, but rarely do they possess the skill set to extricate themselves from the trouble that they freelance themselves into. It's a tongue twister, but it's true. Can we all agree on that? Okay. Not only am I putting myself at risk by climbing into that attic, that burning attic alone with no radio before the days of 2 in, 2 out, okay, but I'm putting all of my brothers and sisters at risk by doing that too. Because from the recovery studies that they did in Phoenix a number of years ago, what do they say? 12 to 15 firefighters to rescue one, 3 maydays associated with each firefighter rescue, all that stuff. We're going to throw every resource at that lost firefighter. And if I'd gotten tangled in wires in that attic or ran out of, had a collapse, ran out of air, my brothers and sisters are going to come in a human wave assault to try to help me out and get me out. So I'm in there and I'm doing it. And I got that bale wide open and I'm flowing water. I got that 1 3/4 going, that combination nozzle. I'm bear hugging that thing. And my company officer finishes his 360 walk around. And he comes back to the rig and goes, "Okay, Mark, get ready to..." "Dave, where's Mark?" And Dave, the engineer, just looks at the house and he looks down at the hose line. And he goes, oh crap. He dons his mask as fast as he can. He runs up the stairs, dodging the furniture that's floating down the stairs, the sheetrock that's dropping, because I'm flowing big water. We had a water supply. I'm doing it. And he gets up to the top of the stairs, and he pulls on my leg, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm doing it!" But what I was actually doing was I was setting the incident up for failure, possibly, by doing just whatever I thought was right. And again, like I said, you can't hold people to a standard that you've never established. And it's all about expectations, and it's all about communication. Because young firefighters are going to do what they think is right. Because like I said, as a 26-year-old rookie, I don't do real well standing still when somebody grabs me and says, "I know where the fire is, I'm going to show you." Okay? So that's kind of how this thing started. And later on in my career, I had some things that happened in my career. Don't try to read that. The print's too small. All you need to read is "Staying the Course" and vonAppen would quit again. Don't try to read the article. It won't happen. But I had some things happen in my career where we got caught, where we weren't prepared, after I had that experience at my first fire. Okay, where we arrived on scene of an incident where we got dispatched to a building alarm. And building alarms are a lot like car alarms anymore, right? When we go to fully sprinklered buildings, do we take automatic fire alarms very seriously? A lot of times we don't. And you'll see within your organizations varying levels of PPE and varying levels of engagement. And we went to a fire when I was a rookie, just after I'd gotten off probation, and I got detailed out to a house where we got kicked out of an automatic fire alarm in a fully sprinklered building. And as we're leaving the station, I'm working for a captain who I don't normally work for in a district that I don't normally work in, and we hadn't had a talk about what the expectations were. So do we model the behavior that we see from older people? Yes, we do. So as we're leaving on this automatic fire alarm, my company officer's getting dressed, pulling on his bunker pants, and I'm watching him pull on his bunker pants. But I'm not watching him like that. But I'm watching him to see what level of PPE he's going to be in. So he pulls up his bunkers, and he throws on a baseball cap, and off to this automatic fire alarm we go. And we arrived on scene. We had nothing showing from this huge building. But as we're walking the building, we're checking doors in the basement, and we're looking for the detector that's in alarm, because it's always a spider in the detector or in the smoke alarm, isn't it? Always? Okay, if you read an article from Fire Engineering from 1993 called "Tragedy in a Residential High-Rise" about the Regis Towers fire in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm going to paraphrase, but crews had gone to an automatic fire alarm in a residential high-rise a number of times over the course of a number of months. And one night at 2 in the morning, they went to this automatic fire alarm, and they were complacent because they'd gotten lulled into a false sense of security, because every time they went on this building alarm, it was a false alarm. And in high-rise situations, we're told, unless the elevator systems are banked, we're not supposed to take the elevator up to the fire floor. We're supposed to take the stairs. So these crews arrive. They're not fully turned out. They take the elevator up to the top floor where the smoke alarm is coming in. And when the doors open, they're met with high heat conditions and heavy smoke. And the doors close. 2 firefighters get trapped upstairs and are killed. And another firefighter returns to the lobby with all the equipment. And those firefighters died in a classic case of complacency. So we arrive at this building, and we're walking through the building, and we're checking doors, and I'm checking one side, and my captain's checking the other. And again, this is before the days where we all had radios. And I hear a door open and close really quickly, and I hear my captain running in the opposite direction. And I look up, and there's smoke in the hallway in this big commercial building. And I'm not the sharpest person in the world, and but I'm a fairly quick study on things like this where it's dangerous. Smoke in the hallway plus my captain running the opposite direction, talking on the radio, equals something bad is about to happen. So 3 alarms, and 5 hours later, we went home. Okay? Because we weren't prepared, and we weren't taking it seriously. We weren't doing our jobs. Okay? And it was at that moment that I vowed never to get caught like that again. And that's where that whole, if the word smoke or fire are in the dispatch, you will turn out, you will do these things, came from. And by being engaged and having a way of doing things and being excited about the job, can that turn some people off? Is it hard for us to maintain that level of enthusiasm? And is it hard for us to be that one person that takes every call seriously? Yes, it is. Okay? And what we're fighting in our organizations and in our lives is complacency. And that's what the main thing about having expectations is fighting complacency. Okay? And I mentioned the fact that my dad was a football coach, and in 1979, he got a job with the Green Bay Packers organization. After working at Stanford with Bill Walsh in 1977 and 78, he got a job in 1979 with the Green Bay Packers. And he felt like he had really arrived, because pro football is the pinnacle of that sport. And he arrived in an organization that was pretty much rudderless at the time, had a lot of problems, didn't have a way of doing things. And he came from Stanford University, where Bill Walsh was the head coach, and in a pretty short period of time, they turned a program that was probably middle of the Pac-10 at the time, turned it around. They went to 2 bowl games almost immediately because they implemented a standard of performance that involved everybody knowing what their job was, from the top of the organization all the way down to the bottom, and everybody doing their job and knowing that they could rely on the person next to them to do their job so that everybody could arrive at the same destination together. So he's at the Green Bay Packers, and he's watching, and he takes his first year as he's the special teams coach, and he just kind of coaches his position and kind of gets a feel for what the organization's like. In his second year, he's elevated to defensive line coach. It's a little bit of a promotion. And when he's talking to the head coach, he says, "Hey, coach, thank you. I'm really excited about coaching defensive line. But I've got some ideas. I watched how we're doing things over the last year, and I've got some ideas that I'd like to implement. Some things that we did at Stanford with Bill Walsh, and things as the players know it, as Green Bay Packers, are going to change drastically. But if we want to get to where we're going, we need to start holding ourselves to a standard and being accountable. By being accountable, it means we're doing it for the person next to us. Okay? I believe in you, Fred. I support you. I support you. I'll see what you have to say. Let's talk about it. But we're going to start implementing those things. We're going to start holding guys accountable, and we're going to play to a standard that's our standard. We're going to have discipline on this team. Okay? I believe in you." So my dad goes and has the expectations talk with his player group, with the defensive line. "Hey guys, here it is. This is how we're doing things. This is how we did it in the past. Moving forward, here's how we're going to do it. Got this 10 for you, 10 for me. Leadership contract. This is how we're going to do it. This is what I expect of you, and this is what you can expect from me as your position coach. This is how we're going to do it. Good? All right." Everybody was on board except for one guy. So they get to their third preseason game, and my dad's pretty excited about making a change, and he's a young, fired up guy, okay, who's enthusiastic about his craft. They get to their last preseason game, and they're still not a very good football team. But this one guy who isn't on board the program is a Pro Bowl player, high salary guy, but he's not on board with what they're trying to do. So they're getting blasted 38-0 in the third quarter by the Denver Broncos in this last preseason game. And this player who's not on board with change goes and orders a hot dog from a vendor in the stands and is eating that hot dog on the sideline during the game. What does that say about where he is and his devotion to the team and where they're trying to go and the changes they're trying to make? It says he's not on board. And he's not on board with his brothers on the team either. So my dad's, coaching during the game. He's got his headset on. He's working his gum. I think he's a pretty intense coach, right? So he doesn't know anything about it until the next day when there was a picture in the newspaper about it, showing what had happened. So he calls the head coach. He says, "Hey, coach, we got a chance to make a statement right here. We need to get rid of this guy. We either need to fine him heavily or bench him or do something, but this is our chance to make a statement. We need to get rid of this guy. Okay? I believe in you, I believe in you, I believe in you, I support you, I have your back. He won't be in your position meeting on Monday." So they have a staff meeting on Sunday night, they discuss it, and they break down film, and Monday morning, he comes into his position meeting, and the guy that was eating the hot dog is sitting in the back of the room with his feet up on the desk. My old man says, hey, what gives? And the guy just goes, so he walks up to the head coach's office and he says, hey, I thought we were trying to change the culture here. I thought you had my back. I thought we were going to do this together. Well, you know, Fred, I thought about it, and the more I think about it, he's a guy who gets a sack for us a game or something like that, so he's going to play this week. We're going to fine him $1,000. What does that do to young people when you say that we're going to implement a standard and we're going to have a way of doing things, and I believe in you and I support you, and at the first opportunity to make a statement and put your money where your mouth is, either you or the organization turn and run from that conflict. Do as I say, not as you see me do. Okay? We have to be relentless in the implementation of our standard and know that quick change happens slowly. Okay? But the people that make the changes are the ones that stick with the program and do what they say they're going to do. They don't give lip service to it. So my old man says, hey, you know, if this is how it's going to be, I quit. I can't continue to work here. Don't quit. You know, we'll get through it, get through the afternoon practice, and we'll talk about it afterwards. My dad goes through the afternoon practice, and he feels like he's being made a mockery of as this guy's dogging his way through practice. And so he goes in and he turns in his playbook and his whistle. He says, I quit. Don't quit. So that night, he quits. And I remember the head coach and his wife came over to our house and were imploring him not to quit. He quit his job over a matter of principle because he couldn't hack it anymore, because he couldn't work under those conditions, and he had a wife, 3 kids, and a mortgage. And I knew something was up as a kid because the head coach was over there with his wife, and they didn't really ever come over to visit very often. And my mother shooed us upstairs, go upstairs. Go play with your Legos. So I went upstairs, and then the next day, they came and picked us up at school, and boy, did I think I was in trouble when I saw my dad standing there against the station wagon with his arms folded. I'm like, oh God, what did I do? Walked out of school with my sister, and they took us for a ride in the car because there were a bunch of reporters at our house, and they all wanted a piece of my dad because in Green Bay, football's king, and it was the first time that anybody ever quit their job right before the season, an assistant coach should ever quit their job right before the season started. And we're walking along a creek in this park, and my dad says to me, and I'm a 4th grader, he goes, hey buddy, I quit my job today. I go, why'd you do that? That was really dumb. But he did it over a matter of principle. And when I talk to him about it now, 30 years after the fact, I said to him, would you do it again? And he goes, no, I wouldn't do it again. Because the big splash that you intend to make by making a statement based on principle like that, a lot of times you'll make a splash and people will be steeled in your corner. Oh yeah, dude, quit. That'll be really good. That'll make a statement. Good job, right? Because they don't want to step up and say anything. But what ended up happening was it was all over the news for about 2 weeks, and then it went away. It was in Sports Illustrated and on TV. But after that, he was the guy who lost his cool and quit his job. And you can't make the change if you're not there. Okay? That's the main point of that whole thing. I talked to him about it now. He's like, no, you can't make the change if you're not there. And to come almost full circle with that thing, my dad got a job a couple years later with the 49ers. He was reunited again with Bill Walsh. And they went to Green Bay to play the Packers, and that same player was on the team. And the Niners rolled into town and beat the crap out of him. And my old man's running off the field like they're told to do. The staff and the players were told how to take the field and how to leave the field. Okay? That's what the expectation was. They would run off the field. And as they're running off the field, that player that was eating the hot dog on the sideline clapped my dad on the shoulder and said, you were right. Okay? But you can't make the change if you're not there. And a lot of times I think what happens in our organizations is people get so monumentally frustrated with the bureaucracy and the slowness of the process that they quit and they retire in place. And they turn into these types of people. Do you have these rogue individuals in your organizations? These people that are so excited about the fire service that they end up alienating people because they want to raise the standard and they don't have an adequate way of communicating their passion for the job? They basically strangle people. They want to strangle people and say, why don't you love this as much as I do? We know him. Okay? And where this came about is, I was having a conversation with a guy named Jerry Smith, who's the head soccer coach at Santa Clara University. And he's won a number of national championships. Head soccer coach on the women's side for Santa Clara University. He's won a number of national championships. And I was talking to him about, creating belief and the people that you need to capture. And he said, I'm not worried about the people that are on board. The people that are following the program, I'm not worried about them. And there's a subset of people, these rogue individuals, that I'm really concerned with. Because informal leaders in any organization are just as powerful a lot of times, if not more so, than formal leaders. They can have a lot of influence. So there's a certain number of people that are on board with the program. There's a number of people that can go either way based upon, how things are going. And there's this subset, these rogue individuals, that if we don't give them direction and we don't allow them a place to release their passions and their energy. People have dogs in this room, I'm sure. I have a dog. And if I don't take my dog out and let him run and do things, get that energy out, exercise and do those things, play with other dogs, my dog is going to crap in the middle of my living room floor. It's going to eat my sunglasses. It's going to chew the baseboards, do all that stuff because we're not giving it an outlet. In order to give these rogue individuals, in order to engage them, we have to give them an outlet. And all of us got into the fire service because we're excited about something. We all wanted to be firefighters. And somewhere along the line, some of us lose it. Either because we've been betrayed by the organization or by our brothers and sisters, but we all have these particular passions that we gravitate towards in the fire service, whether it's search, thermal imaging, hose, all those things. Find out what people are excited about and make them go-to individuals. You have to communicate with them first and set forth expectations right off the bat. Say, hey, you know what? I understand that you don't like me. And I'd really be disappointed in myself if I liked you, but we have to figure out a way to make things work. And you're really good at these things. I'm going to give you the format a couple of times a year to talk about this and talk about this. And I know based upon your engagement level and how excited you are about those things, that it's going to rock and it's going to kick ass. Okay? And bring those individuals back into the fold so that they don't crap in the middle of your apparatus floor. Okay? Because they'll do it. I know we've all seen people that will actively work against what the organization is trying to do simply because they're bitter or they're retired in place. And there's nothing sadder to me than seeing someone who's counting down the days to retirement. Okay? Life's too short. This job is too great. We have to engage everybody and find out what their talents are and bring them on board and make them go-to guys so they're not problem children. So empowering your people. We have to allow people to lead. And the last bullet point on here is that it takes courage on everyone's part. And I used to really believe that I think that if you're stepping into a leadership role, sometimes it does take courage on everyone's part or on the leader's part to allow people to lead. But if I know implicitly what people are capable of and who they are as people, what their skill set is, I really believe that we can take the training wheels off. And it really eliminates my need to be there. If we're doing it right, we can disappear into the background and we don't even need to show up. I think early on I had this misconception that it takes a tremendous amount of courage on the company officer's part, on the battalion chief's part to trust their people. No, I don't believe that. If you know what they're capable of, you're just giving them tasks that they can do. And allow them to step up. Okay? Because it increases buy-in, it increases investment. People are more willing to take stake in the organization if they're allowed to run with programs and they're not micromanaged. Okay? So, expectations being a vital part of what we do and communicating things. And I like I said earlier, you can't hold people to a standard that you've never established. Imagine that you are a company officer who's a new company officer and you're assigned to the route and you're working with a crew that you've never worked with before. Tell me if you think this is what it might look like.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is a new dimension. A dimension of sound. a dimension of sight, a dimension of mind. You're moving through a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Sector.
Ah, boys. Oh, man, I'm going down. I'm tired, man. It's been a long day. Hope we get to sleep all night.
All right, Skip. We're going to wait up for the big one.
Yeah, all right. I'll see you guys in the morning.
All right.
Yeah, I'm tired. Oh, man, it's getting late. I better call my baby. Oh, man, I hope she's still awake.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
What you doing, baby?
How are ya?
I'm all right.
Good. Where are you at today?
We're down south, man. It's a little different for me, baby. I'm not, I'm normally up north. They sent me down south today. Just a little different, but
Right?
guys are good. But I hear they're crazy, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we haven't had anything yet. We just a couple first aid calls, but
Oh, good deal.
they're pretty crazy. Hey, enough of them hairy leg firemen, man. What are you wearing, baby?
Well,
With the United States on Thursday in the gold medal game.
Engine 3, Engine 4, Engine 14, Engine 6, Ladder 4, Ladder 1. Rescue 3, Battalion 2, Deputy, 3 and 1 assignment.
Oh, man, this is a fire. I gotta go.
Do not let 3 beat us in. Jesus, I'm taking it out of here. Let's get started.
Where the hell's he at? Come on, Twinkle Toes! Get on the damn truck! We got a fire to go to! Come on, let's go!
One ever shit.
Hey, come on, Steve! Come on,
Where are we going?
Hey, look at this screen!
What the heck you got on? Where's your uniform?
At the door! This is my driving gear! You don't worry about the hell with it!
You know where you're going?
Yes, that's my thing! That's my
Who's all
It's a
going?
working fire! We got an engine 3 for due!
What? I still don't like your uniform.
Huh?
Fire Captain Francisco Montalban is about to embark on a perilous journey of monumental consequences. An otherwise routine task of saving lives and extinguishing conflagracious infernos is about to become a journey into the virtual unknown, an immense, never-ending wormhole that we call the Twilight Sector.
Hey, Cod, man, you're driving a little too fast, aren't you?
Oh,
That's a
man.
little too fast.
Hey, this is how we do it on
Hey,
Southside.
listen up. Oh, Engine 3's on scene. Engine 3, guys, on
Oh,
scene. They got a
man,
working fire.
no! We missed another one?
Yeah,
Come
it's all
on.
right. It's all right.
Oh,
We'll get
man.
the hey, guys, we'll get the lay of line in.
Come on, get out of the way!
Oh, well, it's all right. We'll lay a line in.
Come on, move!
Hey, man,
What?
you're tailgating
Hey.
this car. You're getting a little too close to that.
This ain't tailgating, this drafting. I'm going around and he's taking too long. Come on, move it!
God, you just hit that
Hey,
car.
hey, Skip, calm down. Robin's racing. Don't worry about it. I got it.
Just keep it nice and slow. Keep it nice and easy.
I can see it, man. It's blowing.
We're gonna take this hydrant. We're gonna lay a
What?
line in.
Which one? What hydrant?
That one right there. That one right there.
Hey, hey, it's behind us now.
You know what? Just stop. Just stop
Huh?
right here. Just
Oh,
stop right
okay.
here. This is it.
All right, let's get some. Come on, let's go.
Get ready to go.
Hey, Skip, go get some. I got your back.
Okay.
Let's
okay.
go. Come on.
Okay.
Get some.
Captain Montalban is now caught in a firestorm of confusion. Although he is skilled and competent in the art of firefighting, he has little control over the events that will soon unfold. With struggling communications and command structure, he's already behind a tidal wave of system failure.
Hey, honey, have you ever driven for a chief before?
No, sir, I haven't.
Well, push it a little, because it sounds like this is a working fire.
Sir, I'm just going by Code 3 driving rules.
Well, forget about the Code 3 driving rules. I wrote them, and this gold band says I don't have to follow them. Come on, faster, faster! For God's sake, if this was a sale at Macy's, you'd be putting a lead in it. Let's go! Get out of the way, you idiot! What the hell's wrong with you? Come on! Move it!
Another addition to our callous cast of characters is Battalion Chief J.T. Riker. He's arrived as quietly as a positively panicked pack of presumptuous pachyderms to maliciously abscond or otherwise steal command. With a rapidly decaying deployment model, Chief Riker further complicates the quagmire of what should be a routine incident.
Almost got hit.
Oh, keep driving. It's just a little fender bender. Little bundle and everything will be fine. Come on.
Sir, do you want me to stop?
No, I don't want you to stop. For Christ's sake, people are passing us. This isn't a school bus. Move it. For God's sake, people can die.
Engine 6 to ladder 4, do you copy?
Engine 4 to command.
Rescue 3, still stage north. Waiting for an assignment.
Engine 4 to command.
For God's sake, where's command? Where are those idiots? Do I have to do everything? I'm taking command.
But sir, we're not there yet.
I don't care. Doesn't matter. Back in my day, we took command early all the time.
3 lines pulled off of it. Which one are you on?
Engine 14, this is command. I'm sending you the interior. Stand by. We're going to send you some more units. What companies do we have on scene? Oh, never mind. Engine 3, Engine 4, go to the interior. Ladder 4, go to the roof. Rescue 3, stay out of the way. Engine 6, get to the scene. Hurry up. Come on. Come on. Faster. Get out of the way, you idiot!
Engine 14, where's engine 14? Hey, where's your turnout?
Hey! Twinkle Toes! Fire's inside!
Hey, I'm supposed to be the sector officer here. Listen to me. I need an accountability report. Give me an accountability.
Hey, I got an idea. Here's the shovel.
Well,
Dig yourself a hole and jump in it.
I don't need any more tools.
Where would you like me to park?
Just stop right here.
We're here.
I know we're here. I gotta find out what the hell's going on inside. It looks like the fire's getting bigger. Oh my God. I need a report. I need a CAN report. Command Engine 14, I need a CAN report. Conditions, actions, needs. I need a report. Anybody's. Damn new radios.
What do you need?
I need a report. I need a CAN report. I need to know the progress
I'm
inside.
the truck. You got water. I can't do no more for you.
Okay, you're doing great. You're doing great. Somebody help me. I need some help.
Is that too far-fetched? I don't think so. My favorite part of that video is where, they're getting ready to arrive on scene. He goes, okay, get ready. The door's shut. He's like, or the dog's barking when they're on their way. Oof, oof, oof. Right? I can totally relate to that because that was me. Sucking down my bottle at half capacity, going, what do you want me to do when we get there? Okay? And again, you can't hold people to a standard you've never established. So one of the things that we try to do in our firehouse is create a culture that works. Okay? And I'm inspired most often by the people that I work with, by the great things that I see in the young people, the people that I work with, the people that I work alongside every single day. As a company officer in my organization, I have the unique privilege of working with 4 paramedics on my crew. So I get to stand back a lot of times and as the scene manager watch those 4 paramedics work in concert and bounce ideas off of each other for what's best for the patient. And it's amazing to me to see the skill set that these people possess and how enthusiastic they are for the job. So I derive a lot of my enthusiasm for the job by being inspired from the people that I work with. So one of the things that we started when I was trying to find a way of doing things, I started talking to the other company officers in the station that I worked at. And through the writings and stuff, I came up with 4 core values that we believe are important for us to be able to do our jobs and do them effectively. And the first one is, I call them the big 4, do your job. Second one is treat people right. Third one is give all that effort. The fourth one is have an all-in attitude. There are 4 simple rules that we live by in our fire stations, and that came from us. It isn't some big, bloated organizational mission statement. It's something that's easy for us to do and easy for us to remember. Okay? Do your job like a professional. Treat each other right in the fire stations. Because a lot of times we eat our young, don't we? Yeah, okay? And we can't deliver outstanding customer service and knock it out of the park or outstanding public service if we're not treating each other right when we come to the fire station. Okay? Give all out effort. Have an all-in attitude. Those things tie together. Be present, be accountable, be here now. So we put these signs up in the station. Okay? And I spent money out of my own pocket to put these things up in the station. I don't want you to feel sorry for me because of that. But am I taking a risk by putting my belief system out there and putting it up on the fire station wall for everybody to see? Yeah, because we go on 4-day breaks sometimes, and firefighters can get pretty creative with that stuff, can't they? But because it was something that we believed in, and it was a grassroots movement that we were starting on our own, and it was something that we believed in, that we were going someplace together, people left those things alone. We have all 4 of those things up on the walls in our fire stations. Okay? And that's the standard that we hold ourselves to. Okay? Further along the lines of creating this grassroots belief, we wanted to increase accountability. Hold ourselves to a standard. And a lot of times accountability is synonymous with discipline. And when you're trying to create organizational change, a lot of people swing and miss by trying to create change by saying we need to start holding people accountable. But they do it like this. They'll come into meetings and they'll talk to the management team or whatever, and they'll say, we need to start holding people accountable. And when you do it like that, what is accountability synonymous with? Discipline and punishment. I believe that accountability is a discipline, but the discipline in accountability is holding each other to a standard and doing it for the person next to you. So accountability is disciplinary. It is a discipline, but it's not disciplinary, excuse me. So, right? The discipline is holding each other accountable to a standard. And here's how we do it. We put these signs up in the station that say, excellence is my responsibility. And where this epiphany came to me was I was sitting around bitching to one of my mentors about the imaginary they and them who are holding me back. Because there's always they won't let us do that. They won't let us do this. It's because of them that we can't accomplish what we want to accomplish. And my mentor, who's an old retired battalion chief from San Jose, very Socratic in his way of teaching, and so he asks questions in order to help me get to my point. So he leans back in his chair and he says, Mark, who needs to give you permission to exercise with your crew in the morning? Well, nobody. We do that. Who needs to give you permission to go out and train with your crew? Well, nobody. We do that. Who needs to give you permission to eat meals together? Nobody. The smarter person would have figured it out after 1 or 2 examples, but it took him like 10 for me to get to the point where it's like, excellence is my responsibility. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me nobody's going to tap me on the shoulder and tell me how to be great? It's up to me to accept that responsibility, to go above and beyond? And he just kind of leaned back in his chair and went, go forth and conquer my Padawan learner. But I started thinking about it, and I remembered back to my days as a ball boy in the locker room in the 49ers organization, and they had a sign on the wall that looked a lot like this that said, I will not be out-hit at any point this season. And all of the players signed their name and their jersey number to it. And because I don't have an original thought in my head, I came up with this, where excellence is my responsibility. And I had these signs made, and we brought them to the stations, and I talked to the crews about it. And I said, these are the things that I see you guys doing every single day anyway. I believe in you, and I derive a lot of my job satisfaction, a lot of my motivation and inspiration from you guys. So here's how we're going to hold each other accountable. We're going to do our jobs. We're going to treat people right. We're going to give all-out effort, and we're going to have an all-in attitude. And we're going to hold each other accountable to this standard. You're going to hold me accountable to that standard. When I'm not living up to what you expect from me as a company officer, you're supposed to call me out on it. And I'm going to sign my name and my badge number to this sign, and we're going to put it up on the wall for the whole department to see, and this is the standard that we're going to live by. Okay? And they call that peer pressure, and it's positive peer pressure, but I signed it first, and because my crew, the people who they were on board wholeheartedly, and they signed it, and that's the first day. And we put it up on the wall at the fire station. And pretty soon what started to happen is we would go to headquarters station, and be doing training evolutions at the tower. And other companies would come up and they'd say, hey, we really like what you guys have going on over there at Station 2. Talk to me about this. What's this excellence is my responsibility thing? Discuss the big four with them. Here's where we're going with it. Accountability as a discipline, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody's going to tap you on the shoulder and tell you how to be great. And they would say, wow, that sounds really cool. Can we come over to the station? Can we sign the board? Well, absolutely. We'll take all comers. We're not going to, if you accept the fact that excellence is your responsibility and you're going to do your job and treat people right and hold each other accountable to this standard and elevate your game, absolutely come over and sign the board. So the signature list started to grow, and we keep a Sharpie on that ledge right there where that light switch is. And it's a belief system, again, where we're doing it for the person next to us. This is independent of what the organization is doing. Are we doing all the things that your organization expects of us? Absolutely. But we're taking it and we're elevating it. We're taking it to the next level. And if people don't believe in that, or they think that, this is an honest attempt on our part, and we're not there every single day. And when I'm not doing, when I'm having a down day as a company officer, because I'm a human being and I do have those down days, my guys elevate their game to pick me up, and vice versa. Okay? Because we are not superheroes as firefighters. Okay? We have emotions, we have peaks and valleys of where we are, and our motivation level, wanes sometimes. But if I'm not living up to where I'm supposed to be as a company officer, my guys will say to me, hey, Cap, all in effort, right? All in attitude, right? Do your job, right? And I'll look at the wall and go, damn you, Big Four. But it's a way of lightheartedly holding each other to a standard. Okay? And if this was something that we didn't believe in, and again, are we extending risk by putting our names out there and putting that sign up on the wall? If we have a Sharpie on there, can firefighters be pretty good artists? And if everybody in the department thinks Mark vonAppen is a dick, and there's a Sharpie, can it happen? Yeah, but largely because it's something that we believe in and something that we shoot for every single day, and it's coming from us, people are buying into it, and they haven't defaced it. I will say that I've come into work and I get pretty excited because I check the sign every single day when I come into work, and one day I came in and I was stoked, and I'm looking at the sign, I go, oh, there's some more signatures on it. And I come running in and I start checking them, and there were a couple guys in the room, in the day room. I'm like, oh, who signed it? Some more people signed it? Oh, Batman and Robin, SpongeBob, Jeffrey the Giraffe, okay. All right. And the guys started laughing. I was getting a little cranky about the whole thing, but they said, hey, easy, Turbo. We wrote it in erasable ink, and they walked up and erased it. But it's been successful. It's been this group psychology experiment where, we've really changed the culture in our department, we feel, for the better. Okay. So this is when we moved. I made the move from Station 2 to Station 1. I was doing a presentation in San Diego, and my phone was blowing up, and I looked at it at a break, and the guys at Station 1 were putting a new sign up, and they were sending me pictures asking, hey, where can we put it? Where should we do it? But what's neat about this whole thing is the fact that moving the excellence is my responsibility idea from Station 2 to Station 1, the people at Station 1 put their spin on it to the point where, we've got the board up on the wall and we sign it, but some of the other captains who are, I don't want to use the term anal, but I guess they are. They're big list guys, and they say, hey, I want to further define where this is and where this goes. Let's talk about it together, and what does excellence mean? And so when people show up at our station, there's a list. This is what we do on these days, et cetera, above and beyond what the normal stuff is. So it becomes like a skateboard trick where it starts out as one thing and then people add to it. It's kind of a cool thing. So that's excellence is my responsibility. This is the big four. And again, we went through those things. But this is the standard that we try to achieve every day on every call with our every interaction. Okay. And the thing that's been really cool about this thing is to see where it's gone. The angry rants of someone who is trying to figure out his way has turned into this actual sort of a movement now where I get pictures like this on an almost daily basis. And it's a neat thing to see. So if you don't think that you can make a difference where you are, I'm here to tell you that you can. And you can change your situation, but start small and think big. Okay? And be relentless in the implementation of your standard. Make them people-centered. Take care of your brothers and sisters, and it'll grow. Okay. Talked about leadership and being able to lead from anywhere. I really do believe that you can lead from any position on the fire truck. And when you've got someone in your organization who's a rookie and goes out at 4:30 in the afternoon every single day and throws ladders by themselves without being told to, that's leadership. Okay. We had a guy in my organization who came to our crew when he was in the academy. He was having a really hard time with ladders, throwing the 24-foot ladder by himself. He's not a real big guy. He's probably 5'8", 120 pounds in full gear, in bunkers, right? And some of the things that they told him in the academy were, hey, buddy, you'd probably get better at throwing ladders if you grew yourself a mustache. So he grew this horrible caterpillar looking like a little mustache, and it didn't work. He couldn't throw ladders any better. So he came to our firehouse after the academy, and he'd throw ladders over and over and over again. And he worked his way through the academy. He's one of our better firefighters. And when he arrived on our crew, when he worked with us, as a rookie, he would go out every single day and throw ladders by himself. Mask up as fast as he could and see how fast he could get up the ladder. That's leadership. To the point now where he has gone to take Aaron Field's nozzle forward class a number of times, and he's changing as a 4-year firefighter. He's changing the way that we do business. From the tailboard spot, he's driving change in our organization. And to our organization's credit, they recognize that he's a subject matter expert on hose and nozzles and hose bed configurations because he's gone out and done the research. They're giving he and a number of young people in our organization the keys and the money and saying, yeah, we're going to buy new hose, we're going to buy new nozzles, we're going to reconfigure our hose beds, we're going to change the way that we do business. And we're going through an entire revamping of how we fight fire in our organization based upon people that have less than 4 years on the job, going out and finding the information and bringing it back to our organization. And it's a pretty amazing thing to see. And it's inspiring to me to see our organization making that change, because as I was coming up in the organization, a lot of times I was told, you can't make that change until you become a captain. Then you get to captain and you try to make that change and they tell you, you can't make that change till you get to battalion chief. And then you get to battalion chief and they tell you, you can't make that change until you make See where I'm going with this? We have to empower people and we have to exercise their passions so that we can maintain that enthusiasm level that these people have when they first come into the job. Because if we don't empower those people that are really excited about the craft when they come in, after about 5 years, people start becoming financially stable if they haven't bought a bunch of boats and lifted trucks and things like that and a bunch of, beer drinking firefighter t-shirts, right? They start becoming more financially stable and they start going into different avenues in their lives and their families start to become, more of a priority if things kind of go the way that they normally go in a 30-year career curve. First 5 years, they're pretty engaged. Then they start looking to settle down. For 20 years, their attentions are very divided because they're with their family. And then you've got them for maybe another 5 years. And how hard is it to re-engage after being in for 25 years? And how hard is it to teach an old dog new tricks? That's why it's so important that when we have people that are new to the organization, we bring them in and we make them feel like they're team members right off the bat. Everybody is a mentor. Everybody has to teach people the things that they're passionate about so that we can maintain that enthusiasm in people. And here's another picture of our guys out pulling hose. They'll do it all day long. Being 45 years old, I have a tough time keeping up with them now. It's a pretty amazing thing to see, okay? Talked about expectations and the importance of them. And, really the main thing about setting forth expectations is it puts everybody on the same page. Because I've said it a couple of times, you can't hold people to a standard that you've never established. And I can't get pissed at somebody if they come to my crew and they do something that's out of bounds on an incident where we haven't practiced it, we haven't coached it, we haven't set forth expectations. That's on me. That's my fault as a company officer. And one of the things that I do with my crew, and it came from my old man being a coach for 40 years at various levels, being that I work in the San Francisco Bay Area, and my dad coached at Stanford and with the San Francisco 49ers a couple of different times, at Stanford and with the 49ers, it would stand to reason that I might run into a couple of guys who played for my dad when he was coaching. So sometimes I'll run into a player who played for the 49ers or for Stanford, and I'll say, hey, aren't you so-and-so? And they'll say, yeah. And I'll say, well, I'm Mark vonAppen. And they say, oh, you're Fred's kid. And I'll say, yeah. And they'll go, to a person, they'll say, gosh, your dad is one of the greatest guys that I ever played for. And as we're growing up, we don't think our parents know anything. I've got a 12-year-old and a 13-year-old, and they think I'm the dumbest person on the planet. So a lot of times there's examples of leadership right in our own household. Mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, that we just take for granted. And we don't see them for the leaders that they are. And, they would say to a person, your dad is one of the greatest guys I ever played for. And after hearing it a number of times and trying to figure out my way of doing things, I called my old man up and I said, hey, what gives? I keep running into these guys who say these things, and there's got to be something to it. And he's a cranky old guy, and he says, that's a nice bunch of happy horse shit. I don't know whether it's true or not. But, I used to have this, I go, what gives? And he goes, well, I used to have this 10 for you, 10 for me leadership contract. 10 for both. And I go, well, what's that? And he starts explaining it to me. I go, all that stuff you used to chase us around the house saying when I was a kid? And he goes, I go, that stuff works? And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, I can send it to you if you'd like. And so I started looking it over, and with some very minor tweaking, his list said, this is what you can expect from me as a coach, what to expect from your coach. I started reading over it, and it was gold to me. It's like, God, this is where it all makes sense. I believe that sports are a metaphor for life, and growing up in a household where, sport was how we put food on the table, this teamwork and all these things, setting forth these expectations, it just all made sense to me. So, the things that you can expect from me as a company officer, I email this list out to my guys when I first start working with them. When we have a new bid and I work with a new crew, new group of people, I send out a cover letter, and if you guys want, I can give you my email information. I can send you the cover letter and the list, all that stuff, or the PowerPoint, or all of it. But I email the list out to the crew that I'm going to be working with, and I say, I want you to fill out this list of 10 expectations from the company officer, and then what I expect from you, and I want you to tell me what they mean to you. Don't try to figure out what's inside my head. I want you guys to tell me what it means to you, and then we have this talk. And I understand in no uncertain terms what makes those firefighters tick, what makes them go, how to motivate them, how to tailor my leadership and coaching style to them, because I hear things from them that I might not hear if I just came in and I said, here's the 10 things that I expect from you as a firefighter. If I don't get those 10 things, I'm going to be pissed. Because what's in it for them at that point? So the takeaway for you guys for this is the big 4 and the 10 for you, 10 for me. So in terms of consistency as a company officer, the thing that I try to do is I try to come to work and be the same person every single day. All right? Be consistent. There's nothing worse than not knowing what to expect from your boss as they stride across the parking lot in the morning. People are looking out the window going, oh shit, who do we have today? Right? Okay? And then sense of urgency is another thing that is a big one. Okay? I'm going to give, training and those types of things, it's just due. Because everything that we do is so that we're ready. Okay? And I always say that we're going to prepare with a sense of urgency so we don't perform with a sense of panic. Okay? Never satisfied. We try to build that into the fabric of our culture. A lot of people think that can have a negative connotation, and it can. But as a company officer, I don't get paid to be satisfied with performance. We'll acknowledge it when we're doing a great job, absolutely. We did this great, we did this great, we did that great, and here's how we can improve and do this better the next time. And that has to be okay. Okay? Leadership and direction, obviously. Okay, that's my job as a company officer. You can expect me to give you leadership and direction. Know the way, go the way, show the way. Okay? Forthrightness. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. You may not want to hear it, but I'm going to tell you. And this 10 for you, 10 for me, again, it's a contract between you and me, and it has to be okay that we have these honest conversations, where if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do as a company officer, you're supposed to come and tell me. Okay? Open dialogue ties right into forthrightness. I kind of dovetailed into that, right? Open dialogue, meaning we have a true open door policy. You can come to me with anything at any time, and I'm going to give it my utmost attention. Because if it's important to you, it's got to be important to me. But you have to have an open mind as well and say, okay, you have to be introspective and be able to look in the mirror and be accountable for the things that you've done or your performance. Okay? Accountability from the company officer. If we're crushing it and we're overperforming and we're doing a great job, you guys did it. If for some reason we're not performing as advertised and we're not playing up to the standard that we're supposed to, I own that. Okay? I'm going to push you guys out in front when we're doing great, and when we're not doing great, I'm going to stand up in front and say, that's my fault. I didn't prepare my crew. And I think all good company officers should do that. Technical command, you can expect me to be technically and tactically proficient. That's my job. And never be satisfied with my learning level and constantly learning, maintaining the beginner's mind, because this job is so complex and so deep that we never know what's going to happen. And we have to be constantly game planning, contingency planning, what-ifing everything so that we can get better. Okay? Respect. I know you got to give it to get it. But there's little things that we can do as a company officer, like showing people respect for their time, asking them what they need to accomplish, being sensitive to their career goals, saying, what do you need to accomplish during the day and how can I help you do that? Making sure that you get your meals on time, making sure that, calls notwithstanding, making sure that we get a workout on time. We're going to do what the department expects of us, yes. But in addition to that, I'm going to try to help you get to where you need to go. And then have a good time. Sense of humor is key. I don't take myself very seriously, and I love it when people do. It's so much fun, right? And I don't claim to be the first and foremost leading expert on leadership. Right? I'm just a fire captain from Northern California who's trying to figure it out every single day like you guys are. Okay? So that's what to expect from your officer. And these are the 10 for the firefighters and engineers. This is what I expect from you, and you'll see that some of these things are repeated. So sense of urgency, again, prepare with a sense of urgency so you don't perform with a sense of panic. And Andy Fredericks said it best when he said, the garbage man expects trash cans when he turns the corner. He doesn't lose his mind when he turns the corner and sees a row of trash cans. And just like that, when we go on a fire run, we should expect fire and we should expect victims. Okay? Sense of urgency. Concentration. Be here now. For those short bursts of time where I need you to pay attention, I need you to be here, I need you to be present. When we're training, don't waste my time. I'm not here to waste yours. Okay? I need your eyes and ears right now. Full compliance means that I need you to do the things that the organization expects you to do, at the minimum. I can't be chasing you around saying, I need you to be in uniform. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. Do the minimum things so that it allows us to take our minds off those things. We don't have to think about them. So we can elevate our game and start thinking about raising the standard. Okay? The will to prepare. Vital. Because everything that we do is so that we're ready. Why do we work out? So we're ready. Why do we train? So we're ready. Why do we take classes? So we're ready. Why are we here on a Saturday on our days off? So we're ready. So we can be better. Okay, you can't lose the will to prepare. And along with that, accountability and being the next man up. We never know when we're going to be the next up for an assignment. Okay? Commitment. There's only two forms of it. You're either in or you're out. Okay, there's no in between. Okay? Willingness to play a role goes a lot with being the next man up. Okay? We never know when that moment's going to arrive, only that it will. And does everybody get to do the hot job? Does everybody get to be the person that's on the nozzle, putting the fire out? Or does everybody get to be the person that's on the saw? No, but the person that is on the hydrant just as important as the person that's on the pump panel, who's just as important as that person shagging hose in the front yard, who's just as important as that person on the dark corner shagging hose as the company officer. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay? Pull any one of those people out, and the whole incident can possibly fall apart. So you have to be willing to play a role. Okay? Officers lead, you follow. There's a time to lead, and there's a time to follow. There's a time to ask questions. Okay? If you see something, say something. It's not blind faith in the mission. Okay, if you see something, everybody's a safety officer. We have a culture of collaboration, okay, where we talk, okay? Because I really do believe if you set forth the expectation where you're telling people to shut up as an organization, it's going to lead them to do things and shut up at the wrong time. And we've actually seen it, where people needed to speak up, and they didn't speak up at the right time. We almost got some people hurt. Okay? Finish. Okay? Leave it better than you found it. Okay? And to some small degree, I mean, the one thing that was imparted to me from a captain who I worked with very briefly who was in the military was, a degree of finish means it's a simple thing, like when you use the sink in the bathroom, wipe off the faucet and wipe out the basin and wipe off the countertops before you walk out, so you're not leaving it a mess for the next person. And that's a very small example of it, but think about that. Leave your fingerprint on the organization and teach people everything that you know, because this is a time for us to really, pave the way for the new people. So leave it better than you found it. And then we talk about the standard of performance, which is do your job, treat people right, give all-out effort, and have an all-in attitude. And that dovetails into, where can I help you? How can I help you succeed? What do you want to accomplish in the next year? And we meet annually on these things. Okay? 10 for you, 10 for me. And the thing that's been really great about this thing in terms of building relationships, like I said, I understand in no uncertain terms what is important to the people that I work with. Okay? I think that that's vital. And setting forth those expectations and saying that's how we do things here and that's not how we do things here. People like to be told what to do. They like to know what's expected of them. Do they like to be micromanaged? No. But there's comfort in knowing what the expectation is. Okay? So in terms of setting forth expectations, we talked about what it was like when I went to my first couple fires, when I was a rookie, and later on in my career. We watched that video where we saw what it can look like when expectations aren't set forth. Okay? So this is a video out of the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District, and we talked about how complacent we can get on automatic fire alarms and how we can see wildly varying levels of PPE and varying levels of engagement, because when we go to a fully sprinklered building that's got a robust alarm system, generally we get, again, lulled into a false sense of security. So in this video, which I want you guys to watch, I want you to watch it for sense of urgency, fireground pace, some of the things that we talked about, doing your job, apply the big four to it. Watch this video and tell me if you think that these crews were ready. Think about whether or not they were preparing to win well in advance of this event. And I'll set it up for you a little bit. They're on their way to an automatic fire alarm in a newly constructed building in a strip mall. And as they're en route to this automatic fire alarm, a fire comes in across the street with a report of a victim trapped. Play the video.
Agent 101 fire dispatch. 9-7 fire dispatch.
Go ahead.
This report also, we have an oxygen tank in an apartment below 47, possibly building number 45, with possible hazards for either morning.
Copy. Let's go ahead and divert everybody from the Goodwill fire to the apartment fire and backfill that Goodwill fire.
Going around.
9-7's on 07 for roll call Del Camino. We're going to suspend roll call. We've got a working fire with a victim trapped. 9-7's assuming El Camino command. It's going to be a two-story garden-style apartment complex. Command post is located across the street on the A side. It's going to be an offensive strategy, repeating potential victim trapped in apartment 4-5.
Everyone can cross street. Open mic on Alpha 2. All units check for open mic.
It's going to be El Camino and Drayton. El Camino just west of Morse.
Copy that. Open mic on Alpha 2. Check supply on garage. We'll get a water supply and check time and arrival. You had a call on El Camino apartment fire.
101, get that water supply, and you're going to be fire attack group. You're going to have engine 106 working for you.
Engine 101, copy, fire attack group. Battalion 14, engine 61, that is 62, near 60, 28, 24.
Reports are calling people in for rescue. Truck is all rescue, truck 106.
Copy, truck 106, you are all in. You're initiating rescue. I'm going to put a group supervisor behind you as soon as I get one.
Command engine, Medic 30 is on scene, so if you need us, we're here.
Medic 30, you're going to assume medical group standby for a potential victim. Want you on the A side by truck 106.
Copy, standby for medical group. Command engine 110 on scene.
110, upon your arrival, you're going to assume rescue group. You've got truck 106 working for you. We've got a confirmed rescue. Got truck 106 working for you, your rescue group.
110 assuming rescue group. Truck 106 call at the time.
Hazmat command, what's your ETA?
7 minutes.
Shit. Truck 106 command.
Fire dispatch, C7's calling El Camino.
Are you able to possibly split and give me vertical ventilation if we need it?
Fire dispatch, 24-9, that's fine.
Copy that. Upon your arrival, you'll be vet group. I'm going to make you roof division, Sean. Objectives vertical vent all out.
Rescue 20, we are arriving.
Yeah, Rescue 20, if you're on scene now, why don't you go all out to the roof? Put you on vertical ventilation.
Rescue 20 now all out.
Hey, Command 19 is in the center. Where'd you wish us to go?
Engine 19, report to fire attack group. That's going to be engine 101. Find out what he needs in the way of additional lines.
105 on scene. Assignment.
105, come up with your gear and your crew to the command post. ASAP.
Engine 20 on scene assignment.
Same assignment as 105. Come to the command post ASAP, fully equipped, ready to go with tools and SCBA.
Command Medic 110's on scene.
Medic 110, come to the command post with gurney and gear. You're reporting to a medical group who's going to be the medic already on scene at the command post. It's going to be Medic 30, I believe.
Hazmat on scene, Chief.
Copy, Hazmat. You've got Rescue 20 working for you. They're going to the roof now. Why don't you assist them with vertical vent? If you don't need both companies to the roof, then check out that positive pressure for me. Just want to make sure we get this opened up.
Victim coming out. Victim coming out to the El Camino side.
We got a victim right there now. Right there.
Copy, we got the victim on the command post side.
What do you got?
I believe that's an outstanding example of people being prepared and doing their job and performing with a sense of urgency so they don't preparing with a sense of urgency so they don't perform with a sense of panic. I don't think there's any better example of that. You know, those guys were preparing to win every single day in advance of that incident so that when the moment came, they were ready. Okay? And this is why it's important that we prepare and set forth expectations. The battalion chief who was in charge of that incident, I believe, knew what his crews were capable of down to the person. And that's Jeremy, the kid that they pulled out of that fire 2 days afterwards with the crew that pulled him out. And Anthony Castros, who is the guy, the voice on the radio, talking, coordinating that whole thing. Okay? You're either preparing to win or you're preparing to lose. And either way, you know what the results should be, if you're honest. Okay? I'm going to leave you with this. You have an opportunity to leave your fingerprint on this profession. And it starts from the day that you walk in the door. Okay? And the obligation that we have to the people coming up in mentoring them and showing them the right way to do things. I got a letter from a firefighter in Texas a couple of years ago. And they were trying to get their crew to train with them, and they were basically begging them to do it. And they said, this is what I would say to my crew if I could. Captain, look, I know I'm just a rookie. I'm not experienced, and that's the point. That's why I hound you to train me, to drill with me, to make me sharp, and to help me hone my skills. I know that there's much merit in tradition, but the things that I want and need to do have merit as well. I want to learn. I'm not a 2 years going on 10 type of person. I watch your every move and I imitate what I see. I'm a sponge. 10 years from now, people will know whose rookie I was by my actions, my attitude, and my work ethic. You and your crew have many combined years of service, and each one of them was spent learning something. You are teaching me these things whether you want to or not, or whether you know it or not. Once upon a time, you two were the eager rookie. You looked up at the veterans with awe as I do you. The firefighter you are today is a direct result of those who raised you in the fire service. In the same way, you are shaping me and the current rookies, me and my classmates. I will learn your habits, the way you check your gear, the apparatus, and the way that you treat me. I will be a reflection of you. I will check my SCBA the way that you taught me to, and I will show only as much attention as details you teach me to. I'm watching. Right now, I'm eager to learn. Please show me what is right. Please show me the right way to do things. Instill your strong work ethic in me. 10 years from now, when people look at whose rookie I was, please let it be a good thing. You're a rookie. I think that pretty much sums it up. Okay? Leave your fingerprint on the profession. Leave it better than you found it. With all the people walking out the door, the fire service is ours, to make it however we want it to look. Okay? Thank you very much for your time. Mark vonAppen.